Good evening everyone and welcome to Project Cars 2. This is CRC Tier 1. It's the GT3s of course for Season 4 Round 2 here at the Algarve in Portimao in the beautiful country of Portugal of course. I am James Head. Alan Cavey has just had to nip somewhere for a couple of seconds or so, but I'm here to take you through the stream, and obviously we're on board with the Manual Beast at this stage. This track, really interesting indeed. Before that, I'll go on to the standings. Crusher leading the way on 25 points, with Racing Home in second on 18. Zandamar in third on 15, with Ash Richardson in fourth on 12. John Dog in fifth on 10 points. Because if I can get my words out, it'll be fantastic. WL7 Professional in sixth on 8, with Andy in seventh on 6. Emmanuel Beast in eighth on 4. PFC Steve in 9th on 2, and Nissim, the reserve driver from last week, of course, not here tonight. He's broken his brake pedal, but he did score the 1 point last time out. Aston Matra Racing leads the way on 31 points in the constructors, with Wilson Racing in second. Those, of course, are the Aston Martin, running the Aston Martin, obviously. Wilson Racing and the Mercedes in second on 22. Bulldog Racing Team and the Ferrari in third on 20 points. HRT Esports in fourth, again in the Mercedes on 15 points. Williams in fifth, and the Audis on 12. In Victor Racing Team, British American Alliance, yet to score any points. You're back with me.
Yeah, I am. Happy to be with. I was heading my way up the stairs, and my mom was like, "Oh, take the cat with you." I'm like, "Okay." As soon as I put it in my room, starts meowing. I'm like, "Nope, not gonna work."
Typical cats.
Typical cats. They meow.
Yeah, my girlfriend's got one, and she gets bothered by it all the time. But there we go.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm looking forward to that. Algarve's one of my favourite tracks. I've commentated around here a load of times before, and you can always get a sense of the great racing. The elevation change around here is about 150 metres, I think. It's going to add a lot of interest into tonight. How do you think the drivers are going to cope with this?
The temperatures, I mean, you saw it in Tier 2, the left sides are going to be blistering. So in Tier 1, I think a lot of people should have a sense already of how hot it should be today. I mean, it's set in July, it's set in the summer. Sunny, not even a cloud in the sky. Well, as I say that, you could see clouds. Light cloudy, if we're going to put it blunt. So it should be quite warm to the tires on the left sides. They should be taking a beating. But you saw in Tier 2, certain drivers weren't prepared for the tires to be so hot, the track to be so warm. So now I feel like some of these guys like Speedsta in Tier 2, they were ready. They came out with a great setup, and it really prevailed as their tires were cool throughout the entire race, and they ended up winning. So it really it's going to come down to the setup on who is able to actually set a good lap time and prevail and set those tires as Crusher spins.
Yeah, Crusher Bro having a spin. I think he just set a lap there as well. 42.3 is his personal best. He spins into the pits. Spins back into another garage there coming out of the pits. But he's 1.1 seconds ahead of Emmanuel Beast in second, and Zandamar's just gone third. The 44.4 as well. Yeah, speaking about the tyre management, it is going to be really key, I think, for these drivers out on track. Obviously, it's hot temperatures. Obviously, there's a lot of elevation change around here at the Algarve. And trust me, I know from experience by seeing that the tyres will go around this track. They are going to blister like mad. And I mean that.
Yeah, last season it was a different story with Algarve. It was pouring rain, so temperatures weren't a problem. However, the puddles were. So this time, I mean, I don't know. This has always been a tricky track in the evaluation race. It was hot as well. It was tricky. It was just muggy. It was just, I mean, it's a video game. You can't tell it's muggy, but by the temperatures, you'd assume it would be muggy. The temperatures were well above, almost into the hundreds. And for Fahrenheit, that's really high. For Celsius, I'd say low 40s, if I'm being honest, high 30s. But
yeah, I think it's about 43, 44 degrees Celsius in our terms. So it's literally like a Mediterranean summer, quite literally here at Algarve.
Yeah. So while I make the tweet to put up the Tier 1 live stream, you want to do a little track facts about Algarve, of any that you have on the top of your head while I do this?
I will have to get my track map up, my trusty track map, of course. Well, this is a circuit in the Algarve region, and oh my god, this is 2.9 mile in length, 4.6 kilometers to you guys. Of course, this track was opened in 2008 with the hopes of attracting Formula One racing. However, that didn't prove to be the case because of the financial crisis and because of the fiscal crisis that we had in Europe in the early 2010s. They couldn't get that actually announced. The plans were announced for this track in 2002, but the lofty ambitions of hosting Formula One racing have completely capitulated. You're not going to see a Grand Prix here in Portugal, and it was opened in February 2008.
Thank you very much. Some stuff I didn't even know. So nice, insightful knowledge, and just in time as I got the tweet up, so that is awesome. Timing it perfectly while we switch cameras now. Steve actually in the Audi, surprisingly, 2/10 off, and I say that Ash tops it. He tops Crusher, but as soon as we say that, I feel like Crusher's going to go out and set a time like 2 seconds faster, knowing Crusher.
No, knowing Crusher Pro, yeah, but looking like at the minute, he's been making a few mistakes out on track. It looks like applying the power on the exit of the corner, he just tends to lose the back end. We saw it before, early on in the stream, actually. Ash obviously going 2.5 tenths quicker than him. John Dog's just gone third as well with a 142.5. And you can really get a sense of how close qualifying is going to be already. 2.2 seconds separating the top 10, less than a second separating the top 5. It's going to be nip and tuck all the way to the line, I think, in this qualifying session. And we are about halfway through already.
Yeah. So Ash, just FYI for facts, track facts, one of them, Ash has won this race in the past. So has Jake twice, if I can remember. Oh, and that's Crusher spinning. Or not Crusher, Andy spinning in turn 3.
So the Scotsman's going around at turn 3. He's avoided his teammate luckily there. 47.9 his personal best. Of course, just needs to ensure that he gets the power out of the corners. This is what I'm talking about here. You don't apply the power into the corner, you have to apply the power out of the corner and try and control the car. Otherwise, the back end's just going to spin out, and that's what we saw with Andy. And there's a Ferrari down on the in-road, I don't know who that was, exploring new track limits there.
Looks to be Professional down in 5th place. So yeah, he's, I think he was just waiting for them to go by, which makes sense. I mean, wanted to let the faster guys go through. He is warming up his tires now. He's getting ready to start a lap as Professional. Background knowledge on Professional, he has 2 wins in CRC. He's hoping to make this number 3. His first win last season, if I can remember, came at Donington, which is next week, so he does have another one of his good tracks coming up. And if I can remember, I think Professional and Ash finished 1-2 here last season. I don't think it's going to happen this season. I mean, the Ferraris were strong in Tier 2, so expect it to happen, but the McLarens were up there too, and the only McLarens that we have racing today was going to be McToasty, and McToasty's not here again, so it's a little bit unfortunate. But looking down at the timesheets, I'm seeing right now top 7, top 8, I mean, is within 2 seconds, so everyone's pretty close.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds just under between the top 8. Emmanuel B's filling out in P8 there, the Mercedes. 43.5 currently for the Mercedes driver. 1.4 seconds off. It's not too much. You can get a lot of time around this track. As long as you prioritise the exit of the corners, you can get a lot of time. John Dog just coming up the hill towards, if I can get my track map up, I've got some corner names, which is absolutely fantastic. I'll try and get to that in just a second. He's coming up towards Sagres now at the hairpin before, so this is a turn 13, a double right-hander through turn 12, onto turn 13, and this is Gulp. This hill is Gulp, quite literally Gulp, coming down through turn 14, and of course on the pit lane there on the right-hand side you will obviously see the drivers going there during the race. But John Dog about to come across the line. Is he going to improve on his lap? It's 42.597 currently out on track. The Audi coming across the line, not improving. I think he might have just been going on for a lap, actually.
I was going to say, in Daytona, the Audis were one of the worst cars off. In Portimao, it's a completely different story. I mean, last weekend in Tier 2, the Ferraris were the fastest. They came here, they were not the fastest. Now, last week, the SLSs were the fastest at Daytona, but they didn't end up winning, but we knew they were the fastest, and they come here at a disadvantage. You have Racing at home, I believe, is in 6th with Emmanuel down in 8th, and then this week you do have the Ferrari up there again on pole, but I will mention you have the Audis in 3rd and 4th. I mean, they aren't the best car here today, but they are going to be one of the top 3 cars up there. I mean, this is one of their best tracks, is the Audi, and that's saying something when they're running 3rd and 4th with fantastic drivers behind the wheel. So it's just going to be a matter of time before Audi gets their first podium this season.
Yeah, this track is, I think, primarily downforce space. So you're going to be seeing the cars, like the smaller cars, like the Ferrari, the Audi, really beginning to come into their own here. The more bulkier cars, like the Mercedes, definitely going to be struggling. Who was that going up the order? That looks like it was Steve, maybe, going fifth,
Professional.
5.5 tenths off.
Well, Professional was able to topple himself up to third place. Steve is coming across the line now and does not improve. But yeah, top 5 within 5 tenths, everything close within the top 5. And, I mean, all of those guys have a potential to really, really improve on their lap time. And if they just keep up the consistent pace, there's a good chance it can happen. Down in 6 is Racing at Home in the SLS, and another SLS in 7th and 8th and 9th. So the Mercedes right now, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have McKendu down in the Lamborghini in 10th, and Andy in the Aston Martin for Aston Martin Racing in 11th.
Yeah, Crusher Bro, I think, just in behind on a lap, actually. Currently second with a 42.3. Obviously, we are expecting him to improve. You said we're going to see him improve by about 2 seconds. He's really struggling around this track. I'm not sure if he's had enough practice around here, but he definitely seems to be struggling. Crusher Bro, not like himself, as they come towards the highest point on the track now, towards double right-hander, coming through at Portimao. Portimao, this corner is now coming through the left. And then the left again, plenty of left corners on this track coming up towards the hill at turn 11, and then at Sagres at 12 and 13 before coming through 14 at Galp. And Crusher Bro at the minute, the Norwegian, you would be expecting them to be quicker, but Ash has got all the answers at this moment.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, I'm looking through, he's pushing and he's trying to, as he manages to the final corner, I think that's a big mistake between Crusher and all 4 tires off there. He's fallen to third. His Professional takes the fastest, and it's a 1-2 for Bulldog Racing Team. Crusher crosses the line. No improvement.
Not improving.
So that's shocking for Professional to be up there. That's a blistering lap time.
9 thousandths of a second. Let's just put that into perspective. A hair's breadth between first and second. Professional and Ash Richardson. Oh my god, it's going to be quite close between these two. Ash just coming across the line. I think to start off on a lap, Crusher Bro still third, John in fourth, Stephen fifth at this moment in time. Super Guy, by the way, I did want to mention about him. He did improve on a lap earlier on, a 43.9, jumping under 2 seconds out on track. Really getting that Mercedes, but look at the gap between some of the cars. They've obviously got the Mercedes running 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. There's a good 6/10 gap there between 5th and 6th. That is going to be a mountain to climb for these cars.
I was just going to mention that I'm looking at 5th and 6th. I'm like, yeah, Racing at Home is almost within a second. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's half a second. That's still a big gap to come back from. And then you have the Mercedes running, again, like we said, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're all within a couple tenths of each other. And then you have McKendu and Andy after that. But it's going to be a battle right now because Ash is out on track right now. Professional's in the pits. He knows that's the best lap he's going to set. So Ash in second. He has 40 seconds left. He has a chance of starting another lap if he wants to. It's going to be awfully close at the line. Crusher is, I think, getting ready for a lap. Yeah. I thought I just saw him warming up his tires.
Yeah, definitely, but it looks like he's actually lacking in a bit of speed coming through the final corner. That's not really going to set him up well for the start-finish straight, coming down towards turn 1 at Primera. This is going to be quite close on the line. 12 seconds coming across the line. 42.3. You would expect him to improve. Obviously, we've got John Dog, and who else has just gone up there? Steve has gone third with a 42.367. Just at 363.
Oh,
and
Crusher is slowed down. Crusher went off track there for a second. So 4th place it is for Crusher in qualifying. I didn't think I'd see the day, as and if you get in the power rankings before the season, Crusher has been most likely to win the championship, or at least within the top 3, and he's never done a race here, so having him starting 4th is quite odd to see. John's down in 5th, he's in the pits, he knows that's the best he's going to do. Racing at Home is in the final sector, so we'll see him improve with that SLS. It's all down to the power now. He needs to nail these final apexes. Emmanuel in the pits, he knows that's the best he's going to do. Same with Zandermar. Super Guy has completed his lap. McKendu is railing through the final corner. Right behind him is Racing at Home, and then you have Zandermar right behind. We'll see if any of them can improve. Let's look with McKendu. He's going to be the first one to cross the line. As he crosses the line in the Lamborghini, Does he show improvement? He does not.
44.2, you improved by about a tenth.
Yeah.
That's it. That is it, I think. We've got Ash on the lap. No, Steve.
Steve and Ash.
Steve and Ash, I think, are still on laps, yeah. Less than 4 tenths separating the top 5, though. That's quite close.
Yeah. So if I were Ash right now and Steve wasn't on the track, I'd just forfeit the lap. But I think he's just going for bragging rights, really, just to extend that pole that he has. He has a chance to make it into the 41s. And coming into the weekend, all of us thought that was impossible for qualifying time. Coming across the line, that's Steve with pole position, 41 in the Audi, and that's it.
Where did that come from? Oh my god, he's found a 10th in the final sector looking at it. Steve takes it from Ash in second, 007 Professional third, Crusher Bro fourth, John Dog in fifth, 5.5 tenths separating the top 5, so close. Then there's an 8-10th gap to the Mercedes. Racing at home, Emmanuel, Zandamar, Super Guy, McKinder for you, and Andy right down at the bottom. Wow, what a qualifying session.
That's shocking. I mean, a week ago you had Steve bashing the Audi, and now all of a sudden he's on pole position by a tenth of a 2-time champion. And, well, we talked about Steve in the past. He's probably out of the top drivers in the league. So, I want to say the worst at qualifying, but it's not his strong suit. He only has 3 career pole positions. Now make this 4. And Steve, I mean, in the past, last season, he qualified not even inside the top 10 here, maybe because of the rain, that played a factor too, but Algarve has never really been his track, but now he's on pole position as the time counts down, getting ready. Let's see.
Yeah, everyone just sinking in, I think.
Yeah. All I see is the timer going off at the top. Not sure why.
Yeah, it's going off and then it refreshes when they come back onto the grid. You'll see it sinking, like it comes up on the screen. Yep. Not to worry. I thought we were going to start the race and nobody was starting there. Goodness me.
So why don't we do pre-race predictions? I'll start with you, James. Who do you think is going to have the top 3 podium?
You're putting me on the spot here. I was going to say Crusher Bro for the win, but I'm not so sure now. I'm going to put Ash for the win. I think he might just excel in that Ferrari here tonight. Of course, they did well in Tier 2, so I think they can follow the trend. Ash for the win. I'm going to go Crusher Bro second, and let's put in... I'm going to put in a bit of a wow. I'm going to go Racing at Home for third in the Mercedes. I think he might just excel that car a little bit too much.
It's weird. For the evaluation race, if I can remember correctly, the SLS was not the strongest at all. I'm not going to put any of the Mercedes in the podium. And if I'm looking at it, I'm going to say either Ash or I'm going to say Ash for the win, Crusher in second, and Professional in third. That's who I got in. I could say Steve fourth or fifth.
Interesting. Yeah, of course the top 5 qualifying within about 5.5 tenths of each other. It's going to be so close. Based on that, the top 5 should be splitting apart from the rest of the field, but you never know what can happen here in the Algarve. There is so many elevation changes at this track, and trust me, it always provides a good race. I've commentated around this track in Project Cars for numerous times. We are about to get going now, so I'll let you take over.
And here we go. We're getting ready. The lobby's sinking. 45 minutes. 3, 2, 1. And we're green for the Portuguese Grand Prix in Algarve. And already off the start, that's John peeking in the background. We saw a similar start from others. Ash gets the best start, and he's going to take the lead right off the bat. That's Crusher up the inside. He's going to take a shove at the race lead. Many others, and Manuel gets by his teammate Racing at Home. Xander and Super Guy for HRT side by side. Back there's Andy and everybody else. Let's go up front. I thought I saw some contact, but Ash takes the lead. Professionals falling reins to Emmanuel around the outside, and that's going to be John trying to fight his way up. He had a very slow exit, and an Audi did spin there last season, so he's trying to be careful. Super Guy and Racing at Home still side by side as we look for Xandermar, and that's actually Crusher right behind Ash for the race lead. He runs wide, and Steve's going to take it. So Steve, he did have a chance to win this race in Season 2. He's up here again, and he's going to try and reclaim his fate, and he's going to hold off Crusher as he enters Sector 2.
Yeah, Ash has got a good gap early on. Andy, I think, might have spun off the start or spun at turn 1. He has dropped about 13 seconds off. Yeah, he was struggling early on. He dropped about 10 seconds off the front. And in the meantime, Emmanuel Beast right on the back of WL Professional. Tightest point on the track now into Portimao. The tight right-hander. Don't lose the car here. The Mercedes trying to fight the Ferrari down the hill, but the 007 Professional just coming out on top. And that one, Crusher Pro down the inside as well on Steve. Oh, just a little bit of contact, but Steve has came out on top of that one. The Audi in second place. Crusher Pro trying to fight, and Emmanuel Beast runs slightly wide in the background there on, and John Dog could get involved in that as well. Very good start though. Ash leads the way, 0.8 of a second, with Steve in second, Crusher Pro in third. Very good start.
Yeah, I was quite shocked to see that. I mean, I thought, oh that's one car wide.
Is that going wide? Emmanuel Beast, I think that was.
Might be. Yeah, it was.
It was.
And actually a move for second. Crusher up the inside of Steve. Will he keep it between the white lines? Does he run wide?
Oh.
He does run wide, and Steve's going to retake the P2 if that's going to be the possibility. And he does. Steve up to second once more.
Yeah, Crusher doesn't really seem to be liking the first couple of corners. That Aston is not that strong through the first couple of corners, and you really see the downforce of that Audi really coming on top there. And Steve is holding on from Crusher by about 0.2 of a second. Zandamar all out of shape coming out of turn 3, that was. McKinnon for you just in behind with Racing at Home. That was turn 4 even. I should apologise for that. Crusher Pro and Steve. Yeah, Racing at Home has fallen. Crusher Pro and Steve, though, in the meantime, side by side, running up towards the double right-hander. As we see now on the track, they're coming through Samsung corner and then coming through Craig Jones before Portimao at the top of the hill. But really good racing. Crusher Pro is back through on Steve. He took the second position, but Ash getting away out in front.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the more they battle, it's gonna allow Ash to really pull away, and that's something you don't really want. Same with Crusher. If Crusher takes the lead and you battle, he's really just gonna pull away. So it's going to be a matter of time before they actually realize that they really need to catch Ash. That Ferrari is very powerful, and actually, good run from Steve. He's going to have a chance here, and if I look through, Crusher is defending very well. Last lap, it was Crusher that parked the bus. Steve that parked the bus. Now it's going to be Crusher on Steve, and you have Professional back there in 4th, and 5th is Emmanuel. 6th is John, 7th Xanamar, 8th McKindu, 9th Super Guy, 10th Racing at Home, spinning again, and 11th is Andy.
Yeah, Racing at Home just getting caught on the AstroTurf there for the spin. Crusher Pro defending off Steve. He's got about a 4/10 margin. Watch out for Professional though. In behind, Emmanuel Beast not out of this either. Coming down to turn 1 on lap 3. It's Ash who leads the way at 1.4 seconds. From Crusher Pro in second, Steve in third. Now I would normally say at this point that the DRS is now enabled, but that is Formula 1 right there. And there's no DRS in these cars. That I got used to. Early on, Crusher Pro gets caught on the curb and a bit of contact. I don't think Steve could have really done much about that, to be honest. But Crusher Pro just spinning in front of him on the curb more than anything else. That was through turn 3 or 4. And Steve now is beginning to attack the back of Crusher Pro again. But that was a bit weird. It looked like he got caught on the curb there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just remember from the evaluation race, Crusher pulled away and won this thing. He dominated, and he felt so comfortable. And that Ginetta that he prematurely used before the season, he said, I'm just going to see how it feels. He didn't really like how it felt and chose the Aston Martin. Now, all of a sudden, he's slipping back like a rock. He's holding up Steve, believe it or not, who has 5 career wins, and Crusher already has 1, and Professional right behind who has 2. And again, it's just Ash is now pulling away. Now he's in the Ferrari. He did the Porsche for the evaluation race. So as we look at the facts here, it's quite shocking. I thought it'd be the other way around with Crusher pulling away, but like we said, Ash has a really good shot of winning this race, and once Ash finds his rhythm, he finds his zone, he gets clicked in, and right now he's setting personal best after personal best in that Ferrari, much more than the McLaren did last season.
Yeah, more time he finds out in front. I mean, he's 2.5 seconds clear already as Ash out in front. Crusher just running nearly 4 wheels off of the circuit there. But Steve getting close, Professional. I don't think they're going to be close enough down to one. However, in behind, Emmanuel Beast and John Dog looking quite close. Emmanuel taking the inside line to try and defend the position. Think he's going to hold it on. John Dog
he runs wide.
Runs miles wide. Goodness me, he's off to the Spanish border. John Dog right up the inside, not going to get the move done. And Emmanuel Beast holds the position. But the more they run out wide, the more they're going to be picking up penalties, and that could be costly for them.
I just realized Crusher is starting to reel in Ash a little bit. I mean, he's extending from Steve, and he's reeling in on Ash. So I'm starting to feel like Crusher's starting to find his rhythm, something that he needs to find in order to catch Ash, but I mean, the gap is so big, he does have 40 minutes to do so, and we'll see if he's able to really take the throne here, but Crusher running in second, he's able to reclaim some of it. Oh, he's drifting! He's drifting, he runs wide, and onto the gravel. Steve's gonna have a shot to take back P2.
Did he have I think he might have got caught in the sausage curb there on the outside of the corner, Crusher Bro. That has just unsettled the car. Steve is down the inside.
Contacted Steve spins.
Steve is going to slide it through the corner. Nearly Tokyo drifting through that. I'll give professional P3. Steve, I think, not really in the opportunity. He was a little bit too far back from my perspective to go on for the move. But he tried it anyways, and obviously that will be investigated after the race.
Yeah, we saw this same exact move 2 seasons ago with Roush and me, with where I tried the move, and I'm surprised that Crusher didn't spin either. Despite that Aston Martin being the smallest GT3 on the grid, it held its ground and it stuck to the track, and with 130-degree temperatures on the track, I mean, with the grip and everything, I'm surprised Crusher didn't spin. That car was stable and it held its ground, and actually, you have Professional right behind. This is really, really going to help Professional and that Ferrari team have a chance of making a 1-2 today.
Oh, Crusher went wide. Crusher went wide off the circuit through turn 1. Professional trying to get the inside, and Crusher running wide. I think he's going to rejoin circuit, and yeah, no, I think he's rejoining circuit behind him, granting them the position there. Good sportsmanship if that was the case, but obviously that might have to be taken into consideration.
I thought he just ran wide, and he's like, okay, I'm going to stay off track, and I'm going to gain momentum as I merge back on. I thought that was his mindset for a second. But look at this train that we have here. The little conductor of Professional. It's a 5-car train. The little caboose we have of John down in 6. So this train has a lot of passengers, and they're hoping to get off the train as they're hoping to get by Professional in P2. It's a Ferrari 1-2 for Bulldog Racing Team. 1-2 is something they're very familiar with in their history in this league.
I thought Crusher Bro made a little bit of a mistake, but Professional's pulling away now, coming back up the hill. Steve right on the back. Emmanuel stuck in a bit of an Audi sandwich, to be honest. A bit of drifting there from Crusher Bro through quarter mile, running down the hill towards turn 10 once again. Ash is 3 seconds out in front. The more he is gaining out on track, the better it will be for him going forward into the race. I mean, we're nearly 10 minutes through, and for him to have a 3-second lead, if he can double that within the next 15 minutes, the next 10 minutes as well, I can honestly see Ash dominating this race.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Ash does have the pace, and within this race, he does have the possibility to dominate. And we've seen that time and time again in CRC, where he's been able to dominate. And actually, let's look at Steve. He has the slipstream of Crusher, but that Aston Martin just pulls away in the straights. Audi hates the straights. And while he does have the slipstream, he just loses time to that Aston Martin. And again, that Aston Martin has some decent straight line speed. That's why it won at Daytona. It had the speed, but the driver behind it really, really pushed that car to its limits, and I think that's happening here today. That Aston Martin, again, I'm not going to say it's the best car on the grid, but it really has its perks, and down the straight, it's faster than that Audi.
Yeah, running wide again, Crusher Bro through the corners. It just doesn't seem like it's getting through the corners as well as what Crusher Bro would be actually hoping. He's trying to lunge it down the inside into Professional. Not quite going to lunge it down into the hairpin, but he could have the exit on the outside. Professional making that little Ferrari look as wide as possible. Crusher Bro trying to go around the outside into turn 7, trying to go around the outside. This is going to be close. Crusher Bro forced out wide by Professional. Through Samsung they go, and Professional, great defensive driving, but he gets caught out wide, and Crusher Bro is going to have the position. Just
Professional!
a little bit in front. I think it might have just been a little bit of a coming together there between Crusher. It looked like he got ahead of the car fully, but maybe not necessarily enough, and Professional's dropped down to 4th as a result. I think, to be honest, it was just a miscommunication.
Yeah, it may have been a racing incident, but knowing Professional, I know that will be brought to the stewards at the end of this race, so we'll see if any action is taken against Crusher. Crusher's back to 2nd place. Steve's still right back behind him. He can ride on board. And again, on that straight, he needs the best exit possible to just stay with Crusher. 34 minutes remaining in this race. He tries to nail the apex. He's ran wide. Is he going to keep all 4 tires within the white lines? Crusher keeps 2, and Steve keeps all 4. But that's going to be Crusher maintaining the position in P2. And we'll look further back. That's Emmanuel back in 5th. He's trying to defend from John. John holding his ground. Xanamar back in 7th. 8th is McKindu. 9th is Super Guy. 10th Racing at Home still. And Andy back in 11th. Again, I'm not sure what happened with Racing at Home. He has wins. He's won at this track twice. So seeing him struggle back in 10th is quite a surprise.
Yeah, Crusher just having a little bit of a mistake there. That's why I went, ooh, 4, and he's went wide again. And Steve is beginning to lose the ground once again down the straight. It almost looks like that Crusher he's making up for it on the straight, but through the corners, as you can see, he's run massively wide there, coming through the hairpin. This is Steve's opportunity. There's a bit of contact, and Crusher's round. Crusher is round. I think he tried to rejoin circuit. Steve was on the inside. Crusher may have just had to keep it on the outside there. Obviously, that wasn't the best camera angle that we had. Obviously, POV footage will come in, and the stewards will have a look at that.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time. Him and Steve were going at it, and I didn't think Steve had really good defending skills at this track. Again, that's how he lost this race in Season 2. He just lost it to Crusher there, and Crusher ended up being the one that spun. So really, right now, it's Ash, Steve, and Professional 1, 2, 3. Emmanuel's up to 4th in that SLS, and he's really making that Mercedes look good. And John back in 5th place, so we'll see. Again, there may be a penalty for Steve, we don't know. And already, Steve has made contact with Crusher. Now it's just going to be a matter of time for Crusher to work his way back into that top 5 and make a dent in the field. And actually, you have Xandermar right behind Crusher, who's in P7.
Yeah, looking good at this stage for the guys out on track. Xandermar in P7. Emmanuel Lord's really excelling in that Mercedes. He is defending the position well off Steve. That car has got good straight line speed, I do believe, as well. They're pretty much even down the straight, but with the speed, and my names have disappeared, by the way, on the left-hand side of my screen. I don't know why that has happened.
Oh, it's just... yeah.
Emmanuel Beast through turn 1 holds the position from Steve in behind. And is it Steve in behind? I think it's John Dog, in fact, in behind. I'm getting my Audis mixed up. Goodness me.
Yeah, so the Audi is still showing its power in 2nd and 5th. So they are holding on quite strong. Again, in Daytona, one of the Audis did get a top 5, so John may get another 5th place, extend his points tally to 20 this season. I'd not be surprised at all that Audi still is holding its ground against the rest of the cars in this grid. Ash pulling away, the gap is 4.5 seconds. Steve back in 2nd, was hoping Crusher would stay up there to try and reel in Ash, but now that Crusher's not there and he's back in 6th, Steve is still uncontested in 2nd, and he does have those lights on, so does Professional, and he's just letting Ash pull away. I really think this thing, for Ash, it may be back-to-back for him, as he won here last season as well.
Yeah, Ash looking good at the minute. We are approaching that 15-minute mark, and at the minute he's 5.2 seconds coming down the hill in front. That is a massive gap to have around this track. You do not want to be taking that gap too lightly at all. Ash, I think, has dominated this race throughout. Steve and Professional are going to be battling out for 2nd and 3rd. We've got John Dog and Emmanuel Beast as well for 4th and 5th, respectively. The Audi and Crusher in fact, is beginning to get back into this. He's 2.2 seconds off. That gap when I last looked was about 4 seconds. So Crusher beginning to eat into the margin, but he's got to get that car nailed through the corners to stand any sort of chance to get up. Obviously on the straight he'll catch back up, but it's going to be what? Oh, he's going off from the AstroTurf slightly there.
Yeah, that curbing likes to suck many drivers off the track, so the fact is he got sucked to the AstroTurf from the runoff curbing there. But for Crusher, he kept it just within the track to not get a penalty. However, his teammate Andy, running 11th, does have a penalty as well. And it's quite shocking to see the pace for Andy the past 2 races. I mean, in the evaluation race, Andy did win the first heat, and he won at this track indeed. And I'm not sure if it was in the Aston, I'm pretty sure it was the Aston Martin as well. And now he's running in 11th, so either he had a spin off to start, but just looking at the times, he's 50 seconds off the race lead. So Andy not having the best start to the season.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a glitch on my broadcast at the minute because I've got no names on the left-hand side of my screen, which is quite concerning.
A little problematic. So let's see. I could send you the list of, actually, yeah, I could send you the list of the drivers with the numbers. That may be able to help you.
Oh! John Dog really into the back of Emmanuel Beast. Goodness me, he looked up completely coming through Portimao. Goodness, how on earth he didn't make contact there? Goodness me, nearly had a heart attack. Professional on the back of Steve as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, both Audis almost ended their race in that section, but he's going to be able to hang on, and crossed his fingers and was able to linger on for the rest of this race. We have less than 30 minutes remaining, and Professional's about to make a move on Steve. We'll ride on board with Professional as he climbs the hill. He should be faster than that Audi, and he is. The slipstream's going to help as Steve's going to defend to the inside. He's going to make him go to the outside. Not the smartest move to go all the way to the inside, but he needs to make sure to clear him in turn 1. This is going to hurt the time deficit to Ash in the race lead. And Professional's off, and Steve takes it. Back to P2 with Steve.
Yeah, good action between both of them. Professional trying to lunge it down the inside there, but Steve had it pretty much covered, and that Audi is defending well in second position. It's 2.5 tenths, but I wouldn't rule out Professional trying to lunge a move here down towards turn 4. I think this is, or turn 5. I might be getting my corners mixed up, but Professional coming round the outside. The Ferrari on the Audi, not quite. John Dog right on the back as well of Emmanuel Beast just in behind. Emmanuel really excelling in that Mercedes, but our Mercedes is not really getting closer. However, somebody that is getting closer, and I've just spotted him in the background of shot, Crusher Bro is right on the back of John Dog, and he's probably about a second and a half off at this stage.
Yeah, second or off. By the way, if you want to check the Discord, I sent you the driver list with everyone's number to help you if it's still glitched out. Anyway, looking at second place, that's still Steve. You can see the tire marks in that section that both Audis made with those tires that they have on. So Steve and John are going to have to take a little bit more cautious in that zone. They know that incidents have happened, like we said, back in Season 2. Roush and me did collide, or Roush and I should say. Did collide there in Season 2. Last season there was nothing, but this season Steve made contact with Crusher, and that sent him back a little bit. And then you also saw John a couple laps ago, so that place is prone to make incidents, and they're going to have to be a little bit more careful as we carry on in this race. Less than 30 minutes remaining. It is 27 with 33 seconds remaining. Ash leads by 7 seconds. Second is Steve, and third is Professional. Professional may have another chance to make this move. He's right behind. He's got to wait to the last second or be patient and wait till turn 3. I think that's what he's going to do. We'll ride on board. Professional gets the better exit, and we'll see if he can make the move in turn 3, going through the kink. And that is Steve defending well, but he he closed the door and he ran over the sausage curb. Is Professional, and he lost a couple tenths there, but Steve is going to be able to hang on to P2.
Parking the bus there, I call that by Steve. Fantastic defensive driving from the man in the Audi. Professional right on the back. Emmanuel Beast and John Dog looking quite close in the background of shot. John Dog eyeing up the inside, not going to be quite close enough to Emmanuel Beast. But thank you for trying nonetheless. Emmanuel Beast will hold on to P4. Crusher Pro is starting to get that little bit closer, but in fact, that gap has just extended out to about 3/10. John Dog again trying to have a go at Emmanuel Beast. Of course, these tyres will now begin to start degrading quite a lot out on track, and with 26.5 minutes to go, it really is going to be quite punishing from here on in for the drivers, especially in terms of the tyre wear.
Yeah, the tyre wear should really start to set in now, as we let, sorry, my voice. So 20 minutes or so into this race so far, starting to get ready, and the tires are really going to start to degrade. The temperatures, again, it doesn't pop up for us, but the track should really be hot and blistering for these tires. Those left sides should really be up in flames by now, but with some of these guys, they should be able to nail the setup down, and I think that's what Ash has done so far, and I think the gap has come down a little bit. It was 7 seconds, it's now 6, not by much, but I think really Steve and Ash have really gotten a good setup to save those tires, whereas maybe Crusher actually hasn't nailed down the setup. I mean, maybe that's why he spun so far. Those tires were too hot. Maybe same with why Racing at Home is back there. Couldn't nail down the setup for the tires.
Yeah, Professional was just looking at the inside of Steve. There's no moves being made there. Emmanuel Beast and John Dog were looking quite close in behind, coming down towards turn 1 at Primera once again, and they stayed the same as well in behind. But Steve, Professional, 2.5 tenths separating running down the straight. The gap is about 7 seconds out in front for Ash, and I've got to be honest, Steve just braking a little bit early on the straight to try and defend the position. And he's done it nicely there as well. The Audi man really prioritising the exit of the corner. Crusher Bro was right on the back of Emmanuel Beast and John Dog in behind as well. And this is really going to be shaping up in the last 25 minutes of this race. As we approach the halfway stage, it's really going to be shaping up into something good, as John Dog just had a bit of a lock up there into Samsung.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, I thought I saw a move in Brew there, but I just noticed Crusher did pick up a penalty, so these track limits are not in the favor of Crusher. I mean, they're not in the favor of anyone, but matter of the fact is Andy and Crusher, two teammates, both in the Astons, are not favoring the Astons, and the Astons are really not liking this track at all. So for Ash, he's gotten quite lucky off the start. He's able to pull away and really push down his own skill and really show why he's the fastest this weekend. Steve, our pole sitter, by the way, has fallen back, and I think so far, if the results pan out the way they are so far, out of the first 4 races in CRC this season, out of Tier 1 and 2, only one pole sitter has went on to win the race, and that was Speedsta, actually an hour ago, who did win the Tier 2 race. If anyone missed that, spoiler alert, Speedsta did win. I believe a Tiger with Evil in second, Tiger got third, but we have a move. That's Professional alongside Steve. Professional, can he keep it on track this time? Right on board with Steve. He does, but it's still not going to be enough. The switchback for Steve, he's going to be able to retake P2, but that's going to be Professional around the outside. Can he keep the inside? Up the hill, and that's going to be him gaining the position. And almost spinning, he does spin, that's Steve. Spinning.
Steve lost it, yeah, just unsettled the car there with that slight bit of contact. He also, I think, ran onto the grass or the curb on the inside as well. Not really showing the car a bit too much, but Steve is now back down to 7th position. Obviously, that little bit of contact will be given, and Crusher Bro is going ahead of John Dog. Crusher Bro into 4th.
I'm not sure what happened. I just saw flashing lights. Now he's gotten ahead of both Audis. And surprisingly, Emmanuel is running 3rd. This could be his first ever career podium in CRC. He's ran this league for 4 seasons, and in his 4th season, he has a real possibility of getting a podium. And I may have just commentators jinxed him. Commentators curse, I should say. We'll see. But right now, with the penalty in just many spins and probably an overheating left set of tires, just Crusher, he's really going to have to push to try and take P3.
Yeah, Crusher Bro is beginning to close in on Emmanuel Beast. That SLS still looking very strong. I've obviously picked the wrong SLS for the top 3. I did predict racing at home. It is indeed Emmanuel Beast that is ahead of him. I think Andy is about to be lapped actually by Professional as well. So Andy about to be lapped. He's already been lapped by the leader. Professional, there is the Aston just ahead, and there is Professional coming up the king towards the start-finish line once again. I honestly don't have a clue what lap we're on. My graphics, my names have still not appeared on the left-hand side. It is a glitch. You can see them on your end, but I can't see them on my end, which is totally strange. But 22 minutes ago, it's really great action. We are halfway through.
Yeah, I was just going to notice that halfway through now, Emmanuel has picked up a time penalty as well. So if we look at the timings down below, both a second in the name of Emmanuel and Crusher, and then Andy with a second as well. So only 1 second affecting both of them. So really, I was just going to note that again, I was quite surprised to see them picking up penalties. I didn't see Emmanuel go off at all. I know Emmanuel is not good of a track limits either from talking to him, but I didn't see him a single time this race session go off the track, but apparently he did so, or extend the track, or whatever happened. But he does have a second penalty, and Professional is in second, maintaining 7.5 seconds with Ash leading Ferrari 1-2. And Emmanuel down to 3rd in the SLS, 4th is the Aston, and 5th and 7th is the Audi with an SLS down in 6th. And actually, if you look back with Steve, Steve is about to make a pass on Zandermar.
Yeah, got past him. Obviously, it was a result of the spin. Steve right on the back of him now, and the Mercedes is going to be under a lot of sustained pressure coming down the hill. Andy in P11 is off, beached into the gravel. Goodness me, it'll be a long time to get that back on track, but he has done. Steve trying to get up the inside there of Zandermar. Goodness me, I nearly lost the my train of thought there, but Zandermar is defending off the position from Steve. The Mercedes and the Audi fighting it out for 6th position, out on track. There's 0.3 of a second as they come through. Galp at turn 14. Once again, probably in car number 14 as well. Steve comes through, beginning to gain on that Mercedes. Who is quicker down the straight? It looks like Mercedes just beginning to pull out on that Audi down the straight. It looks like it's carrying about 2 or 3 miles an hour more than that Audi.
I was just going to say, take the fastest car and take the slowest car for straight line speed, put them together and put the Audi behind, which is the slowest on the straight. You're obviously, despite being behind in the slipstream, you're still going to lose the time. And actually, as we look ahead, Crusher is gaining on Emmanuel ever so slightly. John in 5th, 6th is Zandermar, and there's still a battle brewing. I'm looking when Super Guy and McKindo are going to go at it for a battle as well for 8th and 9th.
Yeah, the Lambo under pressure here from Super Guy, of course, the Dutchman, who has been plagued with connection issues, of course, last week, of course, in CRC Tier 1. But Super Guy now down to turn 5. McKinnon for you runs a little bit wide. Super Guy will take that position, I think. McKinnon for you, they'll rejoin to the safe manner. They're going to go side by side towards the double right-hander at turn 7 and 8. Super Guy, McKinnon for you on the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact slightly. Super Guy forced out wide. Still fighting very hard indeed. And the Lambo has somehow pulled that off, I think. The Mercedes is going to go back on the inside. Super Guy now switches to the outside. He wants to get as much run as possible on McKinnon for you. Running up the hill now towards Mayo. McKinnon for you switches to the inside line.
Whoa,
Super Guy's
room.
at the inside line. Taps him wide. He will have to wait up for the position, I think. Super Guy might just have to give that one back. But McKinnon for you down to 9th as a result of slight contact.
I'm surprised he's not giving back the position. A little slight bump and run. If McKinnon decides to report that incident, most likely it could be a penalty for Super Guy if he finishes the race. If not, it could even be a qualifying ban for next week if he doesn't finish today's race. We have, I think, 18 minutes left, and it is Professional cutting out the gap, and Crusher still behind Emmanuel. The gap has come down, and Steve and Xanamar, still the gap is there. John in 5th, Xanamar 6th, and Crusher is actually right in front of John. John has been gaining, and so has Xanamar on Crusher and Emmanuel. So that gap has all been coming down, and it feels like the farther you go back, the faster you are, because everybody's starting to reel in each other.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting for the last 18 minutes of this race here in CRC Tier 1. Ash, of course, leading the way by 7.1 seconds. Emmanuel Beast in 3rd. Crusher Pro now pressurising them, coming through Samsung once again. Emmanuel Beast sticking that Mercedes out as much as possible, making that car. It is a wide car, but he's making that look as wide as possible. Even further, it's like parking a double-decker bus on the corners with Crusher Pro trying to get past. He's trying to see up the inside, but he is going to back off. Could he go switch back on the inside here with Porter Mile? He does. He gets a better run out. Steve with was that John Dog, sorry, in the background, having a little bit of a moment. Steve is right in behind on Zandamar as well for 6th and 7th out on track. It is getting very interesting and very spicy out on track, and that's not only because we're in Portugal, that's because we're getting some great action out on track.
I was just gonna say, like, you probably mentioned that because of the sausage curb comment from Tier 2, if you're paying attention. But yeah, the hot temperatures could also mean for spicy racing, but right now Crusher is gonna have a chance. I don't think so that SLS is the fastest in the straight, but he's gonna try staying with. He actually has a chance. He's staying with Emmanuel, surprisingly. However, defending the inside, oh, that's not a good move. I was going to let him go to the inside and maybe make him run wide, but Emmanuel is going to have and park the bus. Beautiful move from Emmanuel. He's able to keep it between the white lines, and he's hanging on to a first career podium of what could happen. Losing that back end for a second was Crusher. He's going to try the switchback. It is Crusher against Emmanuel. John back there in 5th. He has a good view of this, and he's hoping it continues because John all of a sudden has a chance at the podium if this continues to end brew. Yeah,
Emmanuel just out of shape there. Crusher on the inside.
Whoa, they contacted spinning! They're cutting the track of the hairpin! Both of them have cut the track, and now John is actually... Oh, and he's in this as well! Crusher gets 3rd! I'm not sure who's at fault. I mean, Emmanuel closed the door, and Crusher put it where it shouldn't have been. So with damage and penalties. Oh, my goodness. And, I cannot believe it.
I'm speechless. I'm honestly speechless as a result of that. It looks like John Dog has actually got suspension damage as a result of the contact with Emmanuel Beast. It looked like he was all over the shop. Let's just see how he handles through the corners. He's taken that one fine. It might have been actually Stephen behind. It looks like they're not really that worse for wear, if I've got to be honest, as a result of the contact. Obviously, Crusher Bro was I think, waiting up for Emmanuel Beast. He has waited up to an extent, but he hasn't waited up enough. But Emmanuel was coming across on Crusher Bro's line. Crusher Bro, I think, may have just tried to go around the outside rather than the inside. Obviously, that will go to the stewards.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, not with Crusher, but with Emmanuel. I mean, we've seen him defend last season 3 times. Has he been in a critical situation? Now he's off in the final corner. And just in critical situations, he just cannot defend, and he puts other cars at risk. I mean, I'm not saying that to be rude, but we've seen that. I mean, last season with him in Professional at Monza, and then last season with him in Speedster at Le Mans, they just time and time again went side by side with less than 15 minutes to go. It's just been downhill for Emmanuel, and I mean, he's still in 4th. It's still all good news. I mean, he still has some decent points to take away from today. I just realized Andy did retire around 10 minutes ago, so he will get noted for retirement today. John back in 5th, 6th is Animar, 7th is Steve. Super Guy all the way back in 8th, and 9th is McKindu, and 10th is Racing at Home, who's still pushing on. A minute behind, unlike Racing at Home, to be honest. I'm expecting to be further up, but he's just not a driver in the contest today for a good result.
Yeah, if he can complete, of course, he will be getting that final point-scoring position out on track. So I think that's what he's probably aiming for at this stage. Mind you, Zandamar is beginning to close in on John Dog. All of that contact has really bunched these guys together. And Xander, I think, could be the one to actually spoil the party here and pick up maybe an outside shot of a podium. But certainly, I think he could be on for top 5.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Just reading the comment now from Andy. He retired due to himself spinning so many times and quoting himself being a danger on track. It's unfortunate to see that, but another retirement today, and that's going to be Andy out of the race. And I just noticed John Dog missed the apex and locked up those right sides, actually. Not the left sides, the right sides entering that corner. So 13 minutes remaining. He's trying to stay with Emmanuel, and Crusher is now starting to pull away with some damage from that, I assume. Well, the Ferraris are pulling away 1-2, 7-second gap between him and Ash. So really, they're maintaining that gap while Crusher back in 3rd. Really leading this field, who's really been best of the rest outside of the front 2. And they've all been really close from looking from 3rd on back. Any predictions so far with 13 minutes remaining within this pack?
Oh, I wouldn't like to make predictions. Honestly, some of mine have already gone belly up anyways, so I'm not going to make predictions. But mind you, John Dog right on the back of Emmanuel Beast, who runs a little bit wide, and he's going to be under pressure now. And I think John is probably going to sail this down the inside. He has got the car alongside. He has gotten the car now briefly ahead, and Emmanuel just lets him through. John Dog is through. Nice move. He's up to 4th position. Will defend the inside line. Emmanuel now forced. He will be on the inside line coming into the double right-hander. Don't rule this out for 1 minute.
Whoa,
John coming across
close.
slightly on Emmanuel. How on earth have they not made contact there? Emmanuel all out of shape, has unsettled the car. Xander is under pressure as well from Steve, who is coming into this. The 2 Mercedes is now beginning to bunch up. The Audis are beginning to pull away. John Dog pulling away ahead, I should say. And Steve's trying to get involved in this as well. The Audis are beginning to make into play as Emmanuel Beast runs wide, nearly into the gravel, runs slightly off. As Xander Mars ran the outside, Emmanuel Beast trying to defend this position, forcing him off track slightly, and that just unsettles the car. He's up on the curb on the inside. Steve is probably wetting his lips at this stage, probably thinking, come on guys, get a move on, I want to get through for P5.
Honestly, I'm just riding on board with Steve. He's trying to push his way through, and now he's the left loner behind in this pack, and he's going to lose out on the straight. He was hoping to get ahead before the corners ended, but now they're ended, and he's behind, and he's going to lose the momentum. But let's look with Emmanuel and Xanamar running the same car, same engine. They'll be battling here. Defending down to the inside is Xanamar, on the outside is Emmanuel. He's fallen from 3rd to 6th from defending, so we'll see if Emmanuel can attack, but he's run wide, and Steve's going to try and pick off that position. It is P6, and Emmanuel trying to defend again. Just, he can't hang on.
So close there. Goodness me. Emmanuel came across right at the last moment, just before Steve was going to try and stick it up the inside of him. Xander all out of shape ahead. This could let Emmanuel now through down the hill once again. Emmanuel is getting close enough. He's nearly got the car into the corner. Xandamar around the outside, though I think there might have been a little bit of a contact moment there, to be honest. Xandamar has came out on top. I think he was always going to get the position regardless if there was any contact or not. And Steve is probably just thinking, well, come on, guys. I'm getting held up here. Do the decent thing and either let me through or battle it out or make a mistake. That's what Steve is probably thinking here, and he's trying to go all the way around the outside now towards Portimao through Steve Jones, and now towards Portimao. Steve on the inside line. He's going to try and force the car down the inside here at Portimao. He's got the Audi alongside, and he's got the move done. Forces Emmanuel slightly off track. I thought he was always going to get the move done. That is fair driving, and Steve's up to 6th.
Yeah, what a move. I was going to say our pole sitter has fallen all the way from 1st to 7th, but with that move, it puts him up to 6th, and I was gonna say, that's a stellar move. He tried the same move a while ago on Crusher. He ended up spinning, but this time he's able to stomp the floor down, or his foot down on the throttle. He's able to really push in and really take the position. I'm just gonna say now, John is gaining on Crusher in third. He either made a mistake or John really has the power in that Audi right now. And actually, third place is under attack by the Audi of John on Crusher.
Where's was it Emmanuel Beast in 7th? Somebody in 7th. Steve it was. I think he's gone off somewhere.
Yeah, he just gone off.
Yeah,
I just noticed that. Yeah.
I was wondering, I was thinking there's 4 cars running down the straight. He should have been right behind Emmanuel, and I was like, he's like dissipated into thin air.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might have been the final corner. It's been catching out a lot of drivers so far today. If it's not the section where Steve spun out earlier, it's going to be that final corner. It's been tricky for everyone today. But looking with Crusher, let's check the timings, actually, the penalties. So everyone still has a second who has a penalty. So hopefully John stays within a second, and he could get a podium today at Portimao. It's totally possible. We have 9 minutes remaining in this race, and it is still not out of the question to grab that podium position. But we look further down in the field, Xanamar in 5th, 6th is Emmanuel, 7th Steve, 8th Super Guy, 9th McKindu, and 10th is Racing at Home. So we're really going to try and find out what happened with Racing at Home. We still don't know what happened. It's just not the best qualifying and not the best start, and he's already a minute 16 down. I believe he's been lapped so far. Actually, not yet. It's only 117 is not enough. He's within the leader because Ash is across the line now in turn 1, whereas Racing at Home is on the back straightaway. So he may get lapped. I'm not sure, but the gap between first and second is still less than 7 seconds. They're still maintaining that very well, but let's keep all eyes on John Dog. That gap is increasing a little bit, but if we keep trying to look, there may be a chance for him to gain. Manuel back in 5th, and yeah, not much happening besides actually a battle between the two Mercedes right now for 5th and 6th.
Yeah, Xandamar trying to have a look down the inside towards turn 1. He's not going to be close enough, though. Emmanuel has had a tendency to run wide. He gets it through the corner safely. Xandamar is about 2.5 tenths off coming through into the corner at turn 3. It's not going to be good enough. Emmanuel holds on to the position from Xandamar. But I think one thing is for certain, Ash and Professional out in front are probably going to be securing themselves the first and second for the Ferraris. I think, touch wood, nothing happens, and I haven't commentators cursed them, they will be top 2 on the podium tonight. It's all about who's going to get that P3.
Yeah, I was just going to notice that they're reeling in each other for 5th and 6th. While that happens, John is starting to lose ground to Crusher, and Crusher's going to get that podium position like he wanted so far this season. Then you have Professional and Ash, and I'm saying those Ferraris are right on par with each other. If it just wasn't for Professional being stuck in the mid-pack, if it was Ferrari 1-2, I bet we would see a battle for the race win right now. It's just a bad start, put them all the way back there, and the gap is pretty much the same. I just wish they'd be within each other, but the gap is 7 seconds. Ash is still leading, and he may be able to win this race back-to-back again like he did last season. Crusher back in 3rd, and actually John is right there, and Crusher must have made a mistake.
Yeah, he's definitely made a mistake coming out of that. I think he's got caught on the inside curb just the corner before. Crusher Pro now is under sustained pressure. This is the battle for 3rd. John right on the back, trying to floor it out in the final corner at Galp. There was a bit of sparking coming off that Aston Martin, actually, I think. Not sure if he's got damage from earlier on. It's beginning to tell now, but there was definitely a little bit of sparks coming off the underfloor of that car. Unless I'm seeing things.
I didn't see anything. I don't want to say you're seeing anything. Oh, what a move down to the inside! He had the opportunity. I'm not sure if he ran wide or made a dive bomb. I think it was both. Crusher ran wide. John made a dive bomb. That's a terrible apex for Crusher. He may be able to have another chance to lick the stamp and send it as we head downhill towards the hairpin. Again, this downhill part, it's prone to lock up those brakes, and it may happen. Those brakes, they didn't lock up, but again, just not the best exit. It was for John to try and stay with Crusher. Podium position is still up for grabs. It is P3 between Crusher and John. And while the Norwegian and the Australian go at it, it's still a position up for the fight. We have 5.5 minutes remaining.
Fantastic racing out on track. Crusher is now under sustained pressure. The Norwegian and the New Zealander beginning to battle it out.
Australian.
Out on track. Australian, sorry. I've been corrected. I don't come from a land down under, but there we go. But John Dog right on the back, the Australian, right on the back. Bro getting caught on the inside of the curve there, and now John Dog could exploit the run through turn 13 at Sagres and then through 14 at Galp once again, but he just seems to be going right on the apex, and Crusher Bro just running wide slightly. He's lost the back end, and now John Dog could exploit this. The Australian trying to get the didgeridoo to try and get past Crusher Bro for third and fourth. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but all of this is beginning to let Emmanuel Beast and Zandemar catch back in. The Mercedeses, I don't think, are out of this.
I think what they're hoping to see is that John and Crusher battle for the last couple of minutes. They're able to reel in each other and then all have a chance for P3. We saw this happen in the second evaluation race for the Heat 2, and actually another awkward move in turn 3. I'm not sure if that's turn 2 or turn 3, but trying to set him up for the back straightaway, and Crusher is under pressure from John here, and the Aussie knows what to do. I mean, he raced this track in Season 1, and he does have experience from Season 1 and at this track, and we know Crusher doesn't like it very well. That wasn't the best exit for Crusher, but it's 3 minutes remaining, and it's now or never to try and make that move, and Crusher is still going to be the one ahead as he hits the apex there. He just seems to hope for an incident and actually tries to send it up the inside. That's not the best corner for John. He thought he had a move there, but it was just way too far back. And right now, that's what it is, and that gap is starting to increase. He needs another incident from Crusher.
Yeah, I've got two theories about what John is trying to do. He's either trying to pressurize Crusher into making a mistake and car ahead into making a mistake, or he is just overdriving himself a little bit too much. You'll see him aim for the apex again there. I think he is overdriving himself and he's losing the time. He doesn't really need to afford to do this. All he needs to do is do what he's been doing, try and put Crusher under pressure, and John might get a P3 out of this. I just think he's overcommitting himself.
Yeah, I don't think he's trying to pressure him at all. It's just he knows that, like, why would you risk your own race to try and pressure someone? I'd just sit back there and just be the one behind to see, and then be Crusher, look in the rearview mirror, you see the grill off the Audi, and be like, oh, that's more pressure than just seeing a move out of nowhere, because you know that even if he tries to make a dive-bombing attempt, he's not going to be there, he's not going to make contact, so I wouldn't say that's pressure, I'd just say he's just overdriving it a little bit, and he's just trying to grab that first podium for the Audi team this season, for Williams, but as you look further forward, I just noticed Ash in Professional, it's down to 6 seconds, so not sure if there's a mistake from Ash, probably not, but Crusher runs wide, so does John. However, he gets more time lost out of it. Emmanuel and Xanamar are still 5th and 6th, Steve is 7th, 8th is Super Guy, 9th is McKendu, and 10th is Racing at Home. Nothing has changed so far, but the closest battle we have a chance at seeing is 3rd and 4th of Crusher and John, and we actually just saw a penalty for Xander given out with less than 2 minutes remaining.
Yeah, it must have ran wide coming on through turn 5. I think that might have been for the penalty there for Zandemar. I'm just calculating myself up through the standings, actually. I think Ash is going to take the... I think Crushable is going to remain out in front in the standings, but by only 3 points to Ash, who is currently in the lead of the race. And this will be the final lap of the race as well.
I just realized that, yeah. Time, yeah, it's less than 143 of what they're setting. I'm going to look at the fuel numbers, by the way. Everyone's within 10-ish. For Tier 2, you saw Matt run out of fuel. I just want to see everyone else's. Super Guy has a good 17 in the tank, so going to be the first race that he finishes with fuel. Hate pointing that out, but it's now a known fact. This will be the first race that Super Guy finishes with fuel in the car. And going through, everyone will be good on fuel. That is good to hear. Good to hear. Nobody running out. The gap is less than 6 seconds now between Ash and Professional. It is coming down. However, Ash, it doesn't matter. He's leading the final lap. Crusher's in 3rd. 4th is John. And actually, I just realized, go to the timings, that's 2 seconds for Emmanuel, 1 for Zandemar. And Zandemar is a little bit too far back. John, he's close. He just needs to stay behind him. He has a penalty. He doesn't know that Crusher has a penalty, but he just needs to stay with him, and he could get this podium. And actually, if he just hit his apexes, stay with him, it's going to be a drag race within the final sector, whether or not he could take it home. But I just realized now, Racing at Home actually has a threat of being lapped, and I think he just wants to do one less lap in this race. If I were Racing at Home, I'd feel the same way, but Ash Richardson, it'll be the final sector for him. Running that Ferrari, it's been, what a I wouldn't say that yet, he could spin, but don't want to curse him. With 12 liters in the tank, he is well enough to make it home. 10 seconds remaining, and it should be the final lap, and it will be Ash Richardson. He'll make it back-to-back. He'll go through the final corner. The first 2 races held were back-to-back for racing at home, and now it's back-to-back for Ash. Crossing the line, he wins the Portuguese Grand Prix in Portimao, and what a win it is for Ash. And photobombing it is racing at home. Back there in second is going to be Professional, and that'll be that. The gap is too big. It's insurmountable between Crusher and John. Crusher will still get third despite a 1-second penalty so far. Time penalties could get handed out at the end of the race. We will note that. Timings here, everything is still within a second, and it should be good. Crusher should get P3. And what a surprise. We thought he'd finish second, but we were right about Ash winning. Crusher in P3, P4 for John. Yup, not enough, unfortunately. Emmanuel Cross is in P5 and P6 for Zandermar.
Across the line there from Team Mercedes. Yeah, Steve better come across the line in 7th as well. I think the positions stay as they are for the Team Mercedes. I think Zandermar had a 2-second time penalty. Oh, and that's what you don't like to see, to be honest. What a crash. Super Guy across the line in 8th. He finishes his first race of the season. Good stuff from the Dutchman. McInderfew was floored, quite literally, on the canvas from Super Guy, and he's going to come across the line in 9th. Is McInderfew going to crash? No, he's not. Thank goodness, that could have been hell on earth. And racing at home did come across the line ahead of Ash, and he's going to be finishing in P10. What a race, though. Ash dominant in front.
Yeah, everyone finishes on the lead lap. That's good to hear, besides someone in retirement with Andy, which we will count when he did retire. He was a lap down, but with all our finishers, they do end up on the lead lap, so that is good to see, good to see. Time penalties do not change a thing, but yeah, what a drama-filled race in Portimao. I did not think we'd see it, and everybody running together, surprisingly, that they haven't crashed yet under the cooldown lap. I thought they would have. But I think the reason why they haven't crashed yet is because racing at home isn't up in the front because he just crashed right before crossing the line.
I think he might have been doing donuts and he's crashing the pit wall. That's what I think has happened there. But it is Ash who takes it by 6.4 seconds out on track. Professional in 2nd position. Crusher Pro in 3rd. With that second penalty, Emmanuel Beast actually picked up 3 seconds in the end.
And he
only held
stayed
on
ahead.
4/10.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4/10
Got
second.
lucky.
John Dog, the Australian, in 4th. Emmanuel in 5th. Zandermar 6th. Steve in 7th. Super Guy in 8th. McInderfew 9th. And racing at home, finishing in P10.
Yeah, and I made sure to save the replay both times for Tier 2 and Tier 1. Hopefully get a message saying I saved it. There we go. Just as I say it. Good. So we have the replay saved. We will have pictures from Tier 1 and Tier 2 to post tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, what a interesting weekend to have in the Portuguese Grand Prix. I'm hoping everybody watching so far has enjoyed it. It has been a drama-filled race, and I'm not sure if we want to do driver interviews or not. I got to head off in around 10 minutes or so. If we could sneak in maybe Ash or Crusher or whoever you want to do, that'd be great.
Go ahead.
All right, let's do driver interviews. So while this happens, I'll talk because when I go into another menu, you won't be able to hear James, but you'll hear me, so I'll keep talking. What a race. And I mean, Tier 2 wasn't as much drama, unfortunately. No, I'm kidding. But Tier 2 had its own perks. It was a great, clean race compared to Daytona. Tier 1, however, I saw glimpses of Tier 2 action from Daytona. It was a lot of drama, a lot of spins, but in the end, it was a good race, and I'm really happy it turned out well. If you want to join us next week, that'll be the British Grand Prix at Donington Park. The GP layout, last time out, Professional claimed his first career win. Will we see a new winner? We will see. I invited Ash. Hopefully he joins. If not, we could try and get Crusher or Steve or someone. But there we go. We've got Ash, our race winner for the first time this season. He extends his winning total as the most winningest driver in CRC history, and it's another one. I've kind of lost count. How you doing, Ash? How was that race?
That was a sweaty one, I'll be honest. It felt great. The car was set up really well, and really enjoyed driving, but those first few laps were so tough because I knew I needed a gap, because I knew if like Crusher got in my toe or something, I'd just never be able to shake him. So I think Steve didn't have that good of a start, so I got a bit lucky there and managed to pull away. But it was tough because once Professional got through the traffic, it was just nip and tuck between him and I, you know, and he was faster than me overall, because he closed it from like 8 seconds to 6, so I was really pushing pretty hard.
Yeah. So, James, want to ask him a question?
Yeah, Ash, at any point in that race, did you actually feel that you could have been getting caught up a little bit? Because I know Professional was closing that gap right near the end, and you'll probably be hoping for the line to actually come.
Yes, yeah, it was the longest 10 minutes of my life. It was okay because we were pulling away from. I was pulling away from Steve and Crusher because they were battling, and then once, as I said, once Professional got free, it was just 10th after 10th after lap, and I just couldn't make a mistake. And even if I didn't make a mistake, he'd still take at least 2 tenths out of me. So yeah, to close it from 8 to 6, and I think he made a mistake as well. So it was. I was watching it pretty sharply, put it that way. I was watching that gap pretty. Because if he caught up with me, he said, "Oh, if I caught up, we could have battled." I said, "Well, I would have for a bit, but at the end, I'd have just let you through because you were just so much faster than me. If he got the toe and he'd be out, he'd be just gone."
Yeah. So one more question. We saw this a trend in Tier 2, tire temperatures, those left sides. Were they burning up for you at all, or were you able to manage that with the setup?
It was pretty high. I think 115, 118 tops when I had very heavy fuel on. But I was watching Tier 2 and it said they had soft tires on. I don't know how they did that because I couldn't have done that. But it was, yeah, those hards on, it was still burning up pretty high. But then once I got to Turn 1, they'd chill out a bit. You know, they'd cool down. So just those 2 corners, make sure you didn't go too hard through those, like 80%, and then you'd have tires that were cool enough then for the rest of the lap. If you push like flat out through those ones, the first sector, just the car would be all over the place because they feel like cheese. Horrible.
Yeah. So, thank you, Ash, for joining us. What a fantastic masterclass you're able to put on in Algarve. And I pointed this out. We've held this race every single season. This in Le Mans has been held every single season. But I mentioned this because Jake was able, or I should say Racing at Home by his username, was able to win Season 1 and 2, and you've been able to win Season 3 and 4. With that trend, that means you probably won't win next season. I don't want to say that, but we've seen 2 back-to-back winners. What's going to stop you from winning next season? Because I mean, apparently you love this track. You've won it back-to-back. I forgot the question. What is it going to take for you to win next season, knowing this trend and so-called theory?
It's a great circuit, and I do enjoy it. But if you're in dirty air or something like that and you go offline, your race can be over straight away. So I think maybe in the pack, I'd have not been as strong because, yeah, I was really struggling dirty air-wise in practice. Other than that, maybe car choice because, you know, for example, the Aston and the SLS were very, very good at Daytona, and obviously they're less good here. You know, the way they're set up, they're slightly heavier, so they were always going to struggle a bit more. So probably car choice that would stop it next season, depending on, you know, what car we go with.
Yeah. So I think that's gonna be it for Ash, and thank you, Ash, for coming on. I think we're gonna start doing driver interviews a little bit more. They're going to be cut a little bit short today. I have to head into work right after this, but it's been fun having you on and having the race winner discuss how his race gone through. This is the first ever driver interview we've ever had in CRC, so happy for you to be the first one on. But congratulations on the win, and with that, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think in my head. Forgot where you finished last week in Daytona. I think you should be pretty close to Crusher in points.
Second, yeah. I think in the championship standings. I think. Yeah. 37 points.
Nice. Quick calcs. I like it. But yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate the kind words.
Yeah, no problem. And congratulations to Ash on winning. Next, we will talk to Professional, who finished second to make this a Bulldog 1-2. And it sounds funny to say their team name is Bulldog Racing Team with Ash at the helm, and so is Professional. We'll try and get Professional in here. If not, we can then try and interview Crusher, who it's a defeat for him, not one he was expecting. He qualified fourth and finished third in the race, but he was running up in second at the highest and actually close to the lead in the beginning, but Ash was able to pull away. We'll invite Professional, and thank you, Ash, for joining us.
Yes, no, appreciate that. Cheers, guys.
Yep. And now we have Professional, who finished P2 as Ash leaves, and his teammate. So, Professional, before I begin, make sure your audio mic thing is shared so everyone can hear you. I didn't bother to tell Ash that because we streamed before with him, but okay. So you finished second in this race, pretty comfortable for you, but I was going to say in the beginning, didn't seem so likely as you had Steve and Crusher up there. How were you able to keep it clean and fight your way to second?
Yeah, it was quite tough. First few laps kind of got behind Crusher and Steve, and that was always going to be tough to get past them. They have great top speed, great cornering speed, and Steve was doing a great job to be in front. So kind of wish I got past him sooner. I think I would have had a battle with Ash, but as always, it was a great battle with Steve and very clean. So no complaint.
No. Any questions, James?
Yeah, Professional, hello, first of all. Obviously, we saw you in second place, and the battling in behind with Crusher Bro and the likes, you must have been thinking at one point, well, I've got second absolutely wrapped up, and obviously you ended up second. You must be really pleased with the result.
Yeah, for sure. Really, really pleased with second. I think I could have probably fought for the win today, after all, but I can't complain too much. It's racing. Had a really good battle, like I said previously, with Steve and Manuel. But yeah, I think after I passed him, I think second was in the bag. I had a little half spin, about 10-12 minutes to go. Was pushing quite hard to try to catch Ash if he made a mistake, but he drove great and was very strong mentally, so there was no catching Ash today. Had it in the bag.
Yep, so thank you for joining us, Professional. Nice to have another word on how this race went. Got a couple questions in there for you, so nice to hear. And actually, if you're watching right now, they're actually getting in practice for next weekend in Donington Park. His racing at home wasn't the best weekend for him out, but thank you for joining us, Professional, and good luck next weekend, and congratulations on second place. So next, while Professional leaves, we will invite our third place runner, Crusher, who did win last weekend in Daytona, who also finished third this weekend. Hopefully he's still online. He is, and we'll invite him. So yeah, we got a couple words. I saw Steve in the comments. He laughed at when Professional said the race was clean, or at least with Professional. I didn't see Professional get any incidents, but I would not say this race is clean at all. It wasn't perfect, let's just put it at that, but we have our third place runner, Crusher, joining us, who actually did get involved in a few incidents today. So, Crusher, why don't we start right off with that? There are a couple incidents today. You were picked to be one of the ones running up in front, but they held you back. You were able to fight your way back up to third. Did you get any damage from any of those incidents?
Yeah, I had the first one with Steve, where I missed the braking and then I proceeded to a half spin. That was into a complete spin and hitting Steve. That was my fault completely, and I got 2 damage on the front and lost like 7 seconds or something. And then it was just trying to run quicker laps for a little bit of a stretch, but then I managed to... on my screen I got... It looked like I had some space, but I guess I didn't, and I managed to hit John in the rear, and overall not good. I also had contact with Emmanuel. That's probably the biggest incident, but I'll leave that up to the stewards. I have my view on it, but I won't... yeah.
Yep. So, besides the question there, just letting you know, most likely want to save that footage if anything gets reported, just saying.
Yeah,
it wasn't a clean race at all, but unfortunately that's how it went down. But James, you have a question?
I've got 2 questions actually. First of all, because you finished on the podium, are you going to be having any chocolate tonight? Because I know I hear you rant on about it in the stream comments all the time. Are you going to be having chocolate tonight?
Yes.
There we go. That answers that.
Yeah, I have chocolate waiting upstairs, so I'm good.
I don't blame you for eating chocolate. I mean, I'm getting fat off it, so there we go. Obviously, the second question is Donington. We saw you win last time out in Racing Roulette. How do you feel that these cars will handle around this track? Do you think it's going to be tricky?
I think the midships like the Ferrari and the Audi are going to have a massive advantage here. Because of the entire first and second sector is just a pain with front engine. I would guess I haven't driven here with front engines, but So I think, and also they have more downforce, and it won't be good. But hope Algarve was pretty bad, and I think this will be better than Algarve. But I don't know. Probably looking at, might actually fight for the lead this one, but I'll be careful what I say and try to work with myself to get the car where it deserves to be.
So thank you for joining us, Crusher, and not the best way to turn out, but you're able to fight your way back up to P3. You had John fighting you at the end, but you were able to hang on, and with the time penalty, you came very, very close, but you were able to hang on to P3. So thank you very much for joining us, Crusher. Congratulations on P3, and good luck next week in Donington.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. Bye.
No problem. So I think that will do it for today. As I need to get ready for work, we got our podium finishers done and out of the way. We heard some interesting thoughts from some of them. Do you think next week is going to be same carnage filled? The track isn't as wide as Portimao.
Oh, Donington is going to be such a struggle in these GT3s. Honestly, the back ends are going to be stepping out pretty much everywhere out on the track. I know the track pretty well, so obviously through McLean's corner, through the double right-hander at the end of the middle sector, that is going to be where, of course, we're using the GP layout as well. The hairpin is going to be really key, especially in the opening lap or so. It's going to be quite interesting. And if you don't mind, I will come into what is coming up next week on the channel for TTTV. We've got Tuesday night TTL F2, myself. I'm going to be taking you through that one. Mini League's back again on Wednesday. I'm going to be taking you through Mini League 2, 7 o'clock, 7:45. Hugh McGinley, 8:30 and 9:15 respectively for those. Thursday, we are back with TTL F1, myself and Hugh McGinley in that. TTSL, we are going to be on Friday, of course, at 7:30. I will be taking you through that with Malc. And Saturday, we're back here again for CRC. So literally, you're seeing a lot of me once again on the channel. You can't get enough of me.
Yep. You're cold. It's not helping with all those commentaries, but I think that's going to be it. A fantastic weekend in Portugal. We will see you next week at the home of motorsport for TTTV in the United Kingdom for the British Grand Prix at Donington Park. It's been a thriller again. Nice talking with you, James. It's been awesome commentating with you for part of Tier 1 for 2 minutes and for all of Tier 1.
Yeah, fantastic to be alongside. Sorry I couldn't get my internet working for Tier 2, but there we go.
Yep.
Got it working at least first.
Yep. So I think that's going to be it. You can join us next week and throughout the week for TTG action and TTL as well. So thank everybody so much for joining us, and we will see you later this week for some more action and even more GT3 action next week. And have a safe night, everybody, and peace.